It's Monday in Tryon, North Carolina, and today I had an opportunity to go to a pastor's conference to hear a speaker who has just recently been writing a book on sweeping out um, evil forces in the mind or spiritual warfare with the devil. It's an excellent topic and an excellent presentation, with the book being one that I do plan to get a hold of a copy and to read through it. One statement that he said, and I didn't bring my notes to my desk today, it's down in my car, but he said, "The battle is between the ears." I like that. I may use that sometime in a sermon. And spiritual warfare is a battle between the ears. Because we can justify, rationalize, we can cross out the things that God has told us, and allow the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life to drag us into temptation. And we took a look yesterday at, or Saturday rather, took a look at Proverbs chapter 7, first couple of verses. But it's interesting, it's almost like Solomon, if he's writing here, he's writing from a personal experience, as having watched someone fall prey to adultery. I hate to admit the fact that I think that I have seen several times a person falling into the trap of adultery. Starts out with simple flirtation, moves into physical touch, and then winds up in adultery that is later found out by the mates that are involved. As a pastor, there's little you can do except pray. Pray that the two people will come to their senses and not enter into that adulterous relationship. But if you read through chapter 7, you'll find that unlike everything that we've studied up to this point, it's not just advice. It's almost like Solomon is telling us, I watched this happen. And again, I got to tell you, as a pastor, you can't make wild accusations. You can get one person or the other aside and warn them of the dangers. Remember when we talked about taking fire to your bosom and not being surprised when you get burned. And that's exactly what I observed, even though in both cases that I can remember clearly in my mind, I did warn one or the other that not only was there the danger, but there was the appearance of evil. Even within the church walls, I saw the appearance of evil and the danger, the flirtation that would lead and did lead to adultery. And so you can read through chapter 7 at your own leisure, but I want you to know that there's a physical cost, there's a mental cost, there's certainly a spiritual cost, and then there's always the possibility of revenge. I remember the testimony of one man in my church who said, if it hadn't been for Pastor Pete, I would have killed that man. And he was deadly serious. When his wife was unfaithful, when he found out who it was that was unfaithful with his wife, I believe that if it had not been for the time that he and I spent together and the prayers that we prayed together, that this man would have literally gone to the man's place and killed him, and maybe his wife as well. Tremendous cost of adultery. Physical, mental, spiritual, and revenge. Before you think about being unfaithful, remember it's a sin against God. It's a sin against the other's mate. And it's a sin against your own body. And as this particular section of chapter 7 ends up, the verse that says, it's surely the way to Sheol, it's surely the way to death. And it is. There's quite a few verses in the scriptures about adultery. And while Jesus did not condemn the woman in John chapter 8, verses 1 through 11, when she was caught in the very act of adultery, he never condoned it either. And when people say it's innocent because it's two consenting adults, it's not innocent. And there's always more than two adults involved. You see, he said, go and sin no more. He saw the hypocrisy of bringing only the woman when it takes two to commit adultery. My friends, the only way that we can win in spiritual warfare, especially when we have the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, is to not only sweep clean those evil thoughts, those lusts that go so easily against our spiritual nature, but we've got to fill that space. We need to fill it with scriptures like these Proverbs. Proverbs 7 would be going a long way, that anytime you might be tempted, that you'd pull out a piece of paper from your pocket and read through chapter 7. Matter of fact, you could read through the first 7 chapters of Proverbs, and there's a number of warnings. I can't tell you how devastating it was for a pastor to see 2 families ripped apart because of adultery, and to feel relatively helpless except to warn and to pray, and then to try to pick up the pieces and prevent that revenge that would cause death. I hope that you'll take this message very seriously, and I hope that you'll remember the warnings of Proverbs 7. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.